Friendships never go out of style.
Oh, you're the best friend anybody's ever had, and it's funny, but I feel as if I've known you all this time, but I couldn't have, could I? If you're not over here in 15 minutes, you can find a new best friend. Welcome to the Best Friends Playbook podcast.
With your hosts, Crystal
And Allie.
We've known each other for over 27 years, and we're here to share our wisdom on friendships in film, TV, and literature.
Grab some coffee, our favorite. Hello, everyone. It's good morning for us. It's 11 a.m. on a Saturday in January, and it's raining in SoCal, which is really exciting.
I know, I love it. It's my favorite. This is what, like the second time it's rained all winter. I'm so happy.
I know we had like a really nice thunderstorm a while ago. It'd be nice if we got that again.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that was
I don't know if we will though.
I really enjoyed that. Except that my whole backyard flooded during that storm. So.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, no, not really.
Yeah,
but it was exciting. I'll take a thunderstorm and some flooding as long as it doesn't come in my house.
Exactly. Then it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crystal and I are NorCal girls, so we're used to having 4 seasons. And then we moved to SoCal and we're like, we get like 2.5.
It is. It's really depressing sometimes. Mm-hmm. It was like 90 degrees last week in January. I'm like, come on, guys. I love summer as much as the next person, but a little bit of winter weather would be nice.
Yeah, I'm not here for it. It was gross. So I will take this week of really cold weather and just savor it because I don't know what's going to happen next week.
I saw a little bit of rain, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
So today's episode is Bridgerton. Yip, tip. Yes, we are doing an episode of Bridgerton.
Your Grace.
It's quite lovely to see you today, Miss Anderson.
I can't with you.
Oh my God.
Like Bridgerton, by the way? How did you feel about it? Because I'm like kind of iffy on some things, so. But everybody loves it. Every single person I know that has watched it, like, loves it immediately.
I think it is a really really good show. I was especially in love with cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
And the directing and the writing, all that was really good. As for the choices some of the characters made, I feel were very questionable.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I think at the end of the day, when it came to making bad choices, Marina, I felt was the most valid in the choices that she made, especially for that time period when it came for survival.
Yeah. I'm really...
Daphne gave me a lot of Rory vibes.
Daphne is a weird one because at first I really liked her just because she's so cute and, whatever. Mm-hmm. And she's the main character. But after watching it, because I've watched it now 2.5 times because I'd watched it, then we decided to do it. And when we decided to do it, I was already halfway through watching it a second time. So I had to start all the way over. So I've seen it, like I said, 2.5 times. And upon watching it again, I realized that, like, she's kind of sad. She has no friends. Like, everybody else in the show seems to have friends except her.
I mean, that's essentially what Eloise points out to her is that, like, you have gotten so good at putting this fake story in your head to keep you stable. But then I do like later on how Eloise thanks her for being perfect. So that way she doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
And her mom is like really patient with Eloise on like her coming out and doesn't want her to rush her. And also gave her an extra year so she could work on her studies.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say that I did like that comment. And because at the end she kind of points out that, like, I don't want to be perfect. I don't like being, it's too hard or whatever. But anyways, I think what I really do like about the show though is, as I think I told you, it's like Gossip Girl and Pride and Prejudice if they had a baby, right? Like, it has that like drama and kind of like terrible choices, like you said, of Gossip Girl, mixed in with like that Regency era of Pride and Prejudice, but like a little more raunchy, obviously, and a little more real, I feel like, because Pride and Prejudice is so, don't get me wrong, Pride and Prejudice is one of my favorite books and movies, but it only shows so much. There's like a kiss at the end. There's nothing more. It doesn't really show quite as much feminism as I like. And I think this show does a really good job of showing how like stuck women were back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like those aspects of the show.
And I also really appreciated Daphne's first time having sex. I feel like it was really respectful. It was really romantic.
Mm-hmm.
And the whenever they did show sex, it was mostly with people who actually loved each other. Like they went to like that whorehouse once at the end, but they didn't show anything. And so I feel like they were very careful on how they showed stuff, and then they filmed it all in a very romantic way, which I appreciate, especially because like as an actor, those things can be so uncomfortable to film. But at least
Yeah.
seeing the end piece, you can see that like it was done really respectful. It was done in a really romantic way to tell the story about these two people loving each other. So for that being her first time having sex, I felt like it was filmed very beautifully and respectfully.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I also just really liked the way that they kind of modernized the whole
Mm-hmm.
era with just the colors that they used and like you said the cinematography, but also
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite part of the show is just I told you this already how they take like current songs and
Mm-hmm.
did classical covers of them. And I like the fact that it's not just current songs, like random
Mm-hmm.
current songs. They were all like ones that actually kind of apply, you know, like Girls Like You, Wildest Dreams, Bad
Mm-hmm.
Guy, Thank You Next. Like they all like applied to the scene. So I actually really enjoyed the way they fit it in there and kind of brought it into the modern world for us. So
I definitely have to go back and see those scenes again where the songs were played, because I think there was one where like it was when it was raining and they were having sex like near the crypt, but I
that was
couldn't.
the Wildest Dreams one. That's Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was struggling to like hear what it was, and then I was also just distracted because there's two beautiful people having sex on screen. But
Whatever the guy's name is in real life, he's beautiful.
I
It's like
think
Renee
he's
Jean or Jean Renee something. I've seen the name, but I haven't really paid that much attention to
yeah, I found
exactly what
his
his name was. But
yeah, I found his Instagram because someone I follow tagged him. But yeah, he's must be like French or something.
he's a beautiful man, though.
He's very beautiful. I
Yeah.
also appreciated obviously this is a Shondaland show. And I also want to give like a
She
shout
makes
out to
great television.
well, it's also cool because the writer who created the show, his name's like Chris Van, what is it? I don't want to disrespect him. He had only written,
And I think, or Dusen, I feel like is his
yeah,
last
he
name.
had only written for a handful of shows. Chris Van Dusen. He has like very little writer credits. He did 13 episodes of Scandal and a couple episodes for Grey's Anatomy. And so, and this, if you watch the credits, the show's created by him and he's one of the main writers. So he must have went to Shonda and been like, I really want to develop this show. Will you help me? And then Betsy Beers is also on it, and she pretty much is in charge of like a lot of Shonda shows. But specifically, I loved that they just took race out of it.
Yes, always.
Like, obviously, in the real world, racism is real. It is a thing, and it sucks that systemically it's in our system. But I think what's cool that you can do with art is that normally this piece would have to be that white people run the world and black people are their slaves and maids. And Shonda went, no, our queen is a fucking black woman, our majesty. And then you also had people like in high royalty, like Simon and his family. They were dukes, and then you had other people of high royalty and they had interracial relationships, and there was no discussion around it. The only thing they did keep was that it was not okay to be gay. And
Yeah.
so that was also then interesting commentary, especially because one of the Bridgerton brothers is friend with an artist who lives a very like
Bohemian lifestyle.
exactly, and that was a safe place for people to be who they wanted to be when society wouldn't accept them, which I also thought was really cool that they put into the story, which again is I believe to be very realistic because we know they existed.
Yeah, I actually really loved that when they did show the artist having his moment with his like secret guy lover. It the guy that saw it, I can't remember the name of the
There's
brother.
like
I think it was Benedict.
there's so many Bridgerton brothers. There's 8 kids.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize until the second time watching it that they did the names in alphabetical order. Did you catch that? They like mention it, but they mention it in the very beginning and then like at the very end. But from this A, B, C, D, like down the line through, I think.
I just remember
highest
Simon
names.
made a comment like, we have to name him with an A because we have a family tradition. And I was like,
but anyways,
clearly,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure it was Benedict that walked in on them on that scene. And what I liked is that he didn't judge them really. He just kind of like let it be and was like, okay, do whatever you want. How does that work in your marriage kind of thing? But other than that, no judgment. And that's what I love about Shonda shows, right? Like from Grey's Anatomy 25 years ago or whatever it was. I love that she put like a lot of these senior doctors as African Americans, like 3 of them, right? Like we're talking.
Yeah, we had Richard the chief, and then we had
Burke.
He was head of, some type of
Cardiology.
surgery. Yeah, cardiology. And then not Shonda, Sandra. That's why I always mix up her name, Shonda and Shanda. Sandra Wilson, who plays Miranda. She was like chief of the resident. Miranda Bailey. Yes. She was chief of the residents.
Yes. Yes. That's what I was trying to say. I always loved that they did that in that show. But also I looked it up and apparently Queen Charlotte, I believe, was the queen in the show. Apparently there's like a lot of speculation that she may have been half African American anyways. They
obviously made a choice then to show that there was rumors about that, whether or not that was true.
Yeah. I also read that like she wasn't even in the books, which I have never read the books. I know nothing about the books.
I knew nothing about this book or the show.
And I'll be honest, I looked up the books and they look really lame. Like the cover is very much like those old Fabio kind of romance novels of the like 80s and 90s looking. Like they look really lame. I don't know if they are, but they look really lame on the outsides. All I know is when I looked it up, it was like each book focuses on one of the kids, like finding love. I don't know. It was kind of confusing. I tried to read some of the summaries and I was like, but none of them are that exciting. So
if that's the case, like, I think season 1 was done really well. And like they ended it in a way where they didn't know if they were going to get another season, which was smart. But I feel like if they do another season, it should be on Eloise and her struggle.
That would be nice. I am like kind of torn because I'm pretty sure they've already talked about doing a second season.
They made an announcement. Lady Whistle Below. Let me
Whistle Down.
Whistle Down. I was like, I kept writing her name wrong in my notes. I was like, what is her name?
I just put LW because it was too long to keep typing. I'm pretty sure they're doing a second season. They did set it up for the eldest brother, Anthony. And apparently the second book was about him. So if they follow that story, then if they follow the books, it'll be about Anthony next.
Well,
I personally kind of wish they would just deviate from the books, having not read them, right? But I wish they'd deviate and like do their own thing and kind of incorporate all of the stories together versus one each season. But that's just me.
Okay. Well, I have it confirmed. It is about Lord Anthony. Here, I will read it.
Okay.
Dearest Ritas.
That slut.
Dearest Ritas, the ton are abuzz with the latest gossip, and so is my honor to impart to you. Bridgerton shall officially return for a second season. I do hope you have stored a bottle of Raffatifa for this delightful occasion. I don't know what that is. The incomparable cast of Bridgerton will return to production in the spring of 2021. This author has been reliably informed that Lord Anthony Bridgerton intends to dominate the social season. I will have my pen ready to report on any and all of his romantic activities. However, gentle reader, before you set the comments section alight with requests for more sordid details, know that I am disinclined to report on the particulars of this at this time. Patience, after all, is a virtue. Yours truly, Lady Whistledown.
So was that on an Instagram post or was that like an actual press release?
It could have been on a press release, but they did post it on the Bridgerton Netflix Instagram 2 days ago because I saw a few of my friends sharing it, but I was like, I'm not going to read it. I just know it's a season 2 announcement. But I guess
Got
they
it.
are doing Lord Antony. But Eloise is so much more awesome.
Let's get real. Eloise is the best character by far. She is hilarious. That actress, she's so great. I hope she does so many more things because she is just like one of those natural, funny
Oh,
people, you know?
just phenomenal. I loved the relationship she had with her brother too, who was like the artist. What you said he
Yeah.
was Benedict?
Benedict,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I
She is
loved that
so
they were
funny.
like both the black sheep of the family and didn't want to fall in line what society suspected of them, and they just
Yeah.
both accepted each other for it.
Oh yeah, she's like my spirit animal. It was so, and the best part, okay, let's get real. Before we really get into this friendship that we actually have to talk about, the
Yeah.
best part of this show is the fact that they make fun of how I don't know, clueless women were back then because their mothers
Yes.
never shared anything with them. So like when she finds out that this one girl is pregnant and she doesn't understand how it happened because she's not married, she like walks into their like salon and is like, um, how does a woman come to be with a child? And they're like, what? Why are you asking? And she goes, I thought you had to be married. Apparently that's not even a requirement.
I know. And
like,
then Penny tells her it's love, and she's like, oh God, we must make sure we don't get
yeah.
that.
No, but it was so funny because when Penny's like, you know, I'm gonna go find out what it really was, and she asked Marina, and then she comes back and she's like, Marina just said that it was love, and they both look at
Yeah.
each other like, that makes no sense. Look at your parents; it's definitely not love.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
like so clueless. It was so funny.
that's why I do love that Daphne got mad at her mom, because that created so much drama. And I love that she went to like her handmaiden and was like, you need to teach me everything, tell me now, and don't leave anything out.
It's so funny because I mean, it's so funny because it's absolutely true, and just just it's ironic because these women are trying to be like more independent in the show, I feel like, than what's traditionally shown in
Yeah.
movies and shows of that time period. But it's like you can only go so far because they just don't know anything. Nobody ever shared that kind of stuff. You didn't talk about that. Like,
My one favorite thing was obviously gossip is bad, but during this time for women, it was the most powerful weapon that you had at your disposal because men wouldn't take your word. And so I love that when Anthony tries to set Daphne up to marry Nigel, which is the creepy racist douchebag, and her mom's like not having it. She's like, we're going to do what women do best. She invites the mom over. They get the dirt from her handmaid because they know everything, and they spread it across town like wildfire.
yeah.
And I was like, fuck yeah.
Same with the society pages back then. Like that was a real thing, and that was how you got your like news. I mean, we still have it today. We still have like Page Six and paparazzi and stuff. But I mean, honestly, we have so many other versions of it now. But it's just funny that that was kind of the thing back then. That's like what it really came to be, a thing that they read every single day, which is so silly to me.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah.
Okay, so after watching the show, I feel like Penny and Eloise, like you originally said, they do have like the most impactful friendship in the show.
Yes, I feel like they have I think they're the ones that really have the like longest standing and most true friendship of the show.
Yeah, we can talk about Penny and Marina, but like, I don't know. Their friendship's complicated. And then we also discussed doing Will and Simon. And then I brought up that I feel like Simon and Anthony have a friendship. And you're like, they're always fighting. I'm like, I know, but they do make up. But they're constantly calling each other their best friend. Like at one point, Simon even says he couldn't go for Daphne because that's his best friend's sister. So like, and then with Will and Simon, I feel like we don't really have an issue till I just wish there was more moments with Will and Simon because they clearly have a deep friendship. We just get tidbits of it. And I felt like there was more between Simon and Anthony, even though they fight, they're still friends because they would always make comments like, I didn't think you could be able to laugh around me.
Yes,
so it's just hard.
I just felt like Simon and I think his name is Will. I don't know. The boxing guy. Yeah. Okay. I just felt like they had more real conversations, right? More in depth. They talk about their marriage. They talk about his issues. he never has any real conversations with Anthony. It's always like, why are you still fucking that one girl? And why are you trying to hook up with my sister? That's how I felt it always was with them.
That's
Like, obviously they've shared things in the past
Mhm.
because Anthony knows about Simon's childhood, sort of. But I
Mhm.
just feel like Will and Simon have more of a relationship in the current like state. Like they're sharing things actively right now, and he's actively trying to help him get past his issues with his dad or his or marriage and stuff like that. So
Okay, well, let's just go ahead and talk about both of them then, because I feel like Simon and Anthony are still interesting in the sense of like they were college friends, and now that they're adults, they act very differently. And so I think there's something to be said about that, especially because like one's a duke and one's just like, are the Bridgertons nobles or are they just a
yeah,
rich fam? They're nobles? Okay.
he's a viscount. He's a the brother. The eldest brother is viscount because the dad died, so he has that title now. That's why he's kind of a dick in the whole season. I feel like because he is the head of the
Gotcha.
household.
Yeah, my poor boyfriend, Carmichael, I sent him down a rabbit hole because he was like, why are they calling Daphne my Grace when she's just a duchess?
Your Grace.
Because in Game of Thrones, your Grace was for the queen. And if you were a lord, then you were my lady. And so then
Yeah.
for the last hour of Bridgerton, he went down this huge, like, dark rabbit hole of understanding how people addressed each other.
I had to look it up. Well, because right before this show, I had watched Downton Abbey, right? And here's a great example. You haven't seen Downton Abbey at all, right?
No.
Downton Abbey takes place. It starts in like 1912 because it starts with the Titanic sinking, and it goes through it goes through. Not you don't actually see anything. I'm just saying that that's the day that it happens is when the show starts. So it's like a obvious time. It goes through the 20s. They are a family with a title, right? The dad is a lord, and all the girls are ladies. So it's very similar to Bridgerton. But what's really funny is that we're talking 100 years later from Bridgerton, and they still do that in England. They're still doing the like coming out things, the society. You still have to call them your my lady or whatever, and my lord, and your grace, and blah blah blah. And by the way, the your grace thing is only for Duke and Duchess and above. Like,
well, Game of Thrones was confused then.
Well, Game of Thrones is, totally made up. That's why I think
fair.
he took liberties and stole some things, but overall,
it's fantasy. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just so funny to me that in the 20th century, they're still doing that. And I think they still do it today, but not quite on the scale. But
well, and we know that they still do it in richer societies because in Gilmore Girls, Lorelai had her coming out party, and then they wanted Rory to have her coming out. So it's like when you're of a higher, richer class, and they want to make sure that you still marry within someone who's in line with your economic level and status, which is interesting.
And the Queen does still give out those titles, the Duke and Duchess, of Sussex, right? Even though they ditched that. And then, the other Prince William is what, Duke of Cambridge? She gives out titles to certain people. So it is still a thing, but I don't think the reasoning behind it is the same anymore. It used to be like you are taking over this estate and this area and you're in charge of this land kind of a thing.
But now we have governors, and I don't know what it is in Europe because they don't have states. I don't know their government.
They have a prime minister and then they have a queen, but the queen doesn't really do anything. She's just for show.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we'll start with Penny and Eloise.
Oh, I thought you wanted to do the boys.
Well, I just meant we'll do the boys too.
Oh, okay.
But I think Penny and Eloise, they're the most
best.
Yes.
So they're clearly friends like their entire life. They live like right across the street from each other. I think it's great that they are like both very independent young women.
And they both love school.
Yes. I feel like Penny is a little bit more traditional. Like obviously throughout this, she's in society. She's looking for a husband kind of a thing, but she's more than willing to step down and wait a year or two.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and she's not about it.
And I feel like Penny's really smart because there's a few times where she tells Eloise, like, I'm not Bridgerton pretty. Like, I have to guarantee a marriage. I can't just do whatever I want like you.
Exactly. And I mean, spoiler alert, but Lady Whistledown is Penny. So like you find out later on that she is an independent woman making her own money, doing her own thing. That's part of the reason why she didn't want to be in society that year. And also the reason that she keeps like brushing Eloise to the side every time she wants to talk about it, because
By the way, it makes zero sense to me how Penny is Lady Whistledown or whatever her name is.
really, I wasn't actually shocked, but I honestly, even when I used to watch Gossip Girl, I never cared who the narrator was. Like,
how can she afford a what's it called? A printing, like her printing facility?
well, she just takes it to a printer.
Oh, I guess the queen made it seem like she had her own printing facility.
No. What they were saying was that when she takes it to the printers is usually when everybody is at a ball, busy, so that nobody knows that she is doing it. So
interesting.
And it does make sense to me because she's at all of these events, right? She has like the inside scoop on the things that aren't happening at the events, like Marina, which she chooses not to talk about until the very end when Marina pisses her off. And also, like, she has plenty of time on her hands to sit there and write shit. Like, so does Eloise. Like, all they do is hang out and entertain. And
that was the biggest hang up for me, is I thought she had her own printing facility.
No.
Now that you've explained it, I'm a little more inclined to agree with it.
Yeah, no. But it's great because it does like obviously show that she is an independent woman, making her own money, doing her own thing. Just because she doesn't share it with Eloise, I mean, I think that's more just preserving it as long as she can kind of thing. But
yeah. And the interesting thing about like Eloise and Penny is I feel like Eloise loves to talk and she definitely dominates all the conversations. Like at one point she's like, why aren't you listening to me, Penny? And Penny goes out of her way to not tell Eloise what's wrong or what's bothering her half the time. Obviously, there were certain things she couldn't talk about. Like she couldn't blab about the Marina details because she didn't want to like shame her family and stuff. But I still feel like Eloise was kind of like the star of their friendship.
Yeah. And I mean, that makes sense when you look at Penny and her family already. Like she's the least important of them, you know? And she makes the comments about, you know, the Bridgertons and how perfect they are and that she's not a pretty Bridgerton and stuff like that. So I think she's just used to not being the center of attention or the most important. And in a way, I mean, maybe that's why she does Lady Whistledown, because everybody's talking about her. They just don't know it's her.
Yeah, exactly. And real quick, like a side note, the actress who plays Penny, she's in this Netflix show, Derby Girls, which is just like this. Yeah, it's set in Ireland, and there's like so much Ireland slang and humor. But it's a really like funny 20-minute comedy show.
I have that one on my list, actually. I haven't watched it yet.
I've only watched like 4 episodes just because like I can't understand what they're saying half the time. But
I put subtitles on.
I know. The girls are hilarious. I think it's a brilliant show. And I'm so happy that now she's in Bridgerton because she's a hilarious actress. She's just too good. Yeah.
She's
so
really
I was just
cute.
excited.
I really like her. I really like her and Eloise. Out of the show, like they are my 2 favorites probably.
Yeah. So I guess like like you said, we know they're best friends. Like the moms are used to them hanging out all the time. So they must have been friends for a while. They live across the street from each other. And I feel like we finally start to see a change in their friendship dynamic when Eloise go to Penny's house late one night and she thinks she knows who Lady Whistleblow, is that?
Whistledown,
Jesus. Lady Whistledown is, and basically Penny goes off on her and she says like she doesn't care, she has bigger things to worry about like marriage, and they just get in this huge fight and she basically calls her out and she's like, I have so many more important things to worry about in life, and whatever you're dealing with right now is not important, and you always make everything about you important. And then that's when she tells Eloise like, I'm not pretty like you. And then she obviously realizes that she hits a soft spot for
Eloise. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a chord for Eloise because Eloise doesn't want to be pretty. She doesn't want this life. And I understand the frustration with that, but like Eloise does have a privileged life, but it doesn't mean that like her issues aren't valid. But that's when we first strike a chord with their friendship.
See, I would argue, I mean, that's a huge turning point in their friendship in the show. But I would argue that their friendship deviates the moment that Penny starts being in society, right? Because now Eloise is over here not going to these balls, doing these things. She hasn't lowered her hems and all that shit, whatever that means.
I know.
I'm so confused as to whether that's the dress or if it's the neckline. Because if you notice, she's wearing a turtleneck until the very end.
You know what? It must be.
Is it showing the cleavage or is it covering your like ankles? Because I'm so confused.
I think it's the neckline. That's actually a good point.
Yeah. So, from that moment on, right, they're totally different. Eloise is still over here like worrying about being in society, not wanting to do it, not wanting to get a husband. And Penny's like, well, fuck, I've just been thrown into it and now I have to care whether I do or not. And I don't want to hear your baby bullshit kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that is a good point because now they are living very different lives because Penny's at like all the balls now. We see more of her than we see Eloise.
Yeah. And it's just, I think it's also their home life, right? The Bridgertons are over here doing it like one girl at a time kind of a thing. And the Featheringtons is Penny's family. And they're over here just like, let's just throw all three girls out there and see what happens. And Penny's like, I don't mind staying back a year. And they're like, no, you're going to get out. You're going to get out there.
Yeah. And it definitely shows the difference in the families and how like, because there's also another girl that like gets the attention of a prince. And everyone admits that like the Bridgerton family like has the looks and they can have like the pick of the lot. But these other girls, they like whenever they get a guy's attention, like do not fuck it up because that might be their only chance.
Exactly. Yes. It's so fucked up and weird. And they call it like the marriage market. I don't remember if they actually call it that in the show, but I remember reading something about it. And it's like it turns all these girls against each other, right? Like these are girls that you grew up with, and then all of a sudden you're out in society, and they kind of briefly show it with Daphne and that girl you're talking about that the prince liked, where now it's like they're turned against each other, and it's like, well, fuck you, this guy's interested in me, so walk away.
Which is just really interesting because I feel like even as society has modernized, like we've still taught our girls that they have to go out in the world and they have to like conquer like the field and they have to be better than all the other girls, and that's why we get queen bees and she has her minions and she has to get like the hottest guy in school and like her whole purpose is just to go to college and get married. And so like it's still a struggle for women to like decide that they don't want to get married or they don't want to have kids or they want to have like a career and be the one that goes to work while the dad stays at home. And we're still struggling with that, and it was like 100 200 years ago.
Yeah, we're still dealing with it. It's still like not still. It's like taboo now to ask do you want to, not taboo, but like a lot of times people will ask if you want to have kids now, and now women are like upset like don't ask me that. I don't, I don't want to talk about it, or I don't feel the need to, or whatever. I don't really care personally, but it's like a thing now. Like you don't talk about that. You don't just assume that women want to have babies now. So
yes, because I get told quite often, oh, you'll change your mind. You're young. And I'm like, I've had this point of view since I was 20 and I'm now 31. When is this day going to happen that you speak of?
Right. See, and we're so opposite because growing up, I remember like when we would play things and it felt like you were the one that wanted to get married and I never wanted to get married. And I never
I was like always playing MASH. Like who would I get married and have kids with? And then something clicked in like my early teens and I was like, nope.
Yeah, I was the opposite. I was like, I don't want to fucking have kids. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't even want to get married. I want to just travel the world and be by myself.
And then we like switched places.
Yeah. Yeah. So funny though.
Yeah.
But there's a great example. Like, why do you have to be pigeonholed into something? You can change your mind later on.
And I like, and I do like that eventually. So like Penny and Eloise, they keep having these like awkward interactions at like events that they're both going to. But they eventually do, I think What is it that gets them together? Oh, I think it's that
Gets who
like
together?
after why Eloise and Penny make up. I think it's that Marina is very harsh with Penny, saying that she can't have Colin and he's never going to see her for what she is.
Yeah, and then yes, so they have that big fight and they keep seeing each other and it's super awkward and they don't talk. And then Eloise's like go-to move is to be smoking at night, like in their
Yeah.
front or backyard. I'm not sure which, but she like sits out there and smokes, and a lot of times with her brother. But that time she was just out there by herself, and Penny walks up and Penny just like immediately starts crying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about Colin, obviously, and Marina. So
Yeah, and it's funny because like she doesn't tell her anything, and Eloise just accepts something's wrong, and she lets her lean on her for support. But I would have been like, why are you crying?"
yeah.
And so I wish that like I understand that Colin is Eloise's brother, but I just feel like Penny should have been a little more forthcoming, like as a friend.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
express yourself or your feelings sometimes when
Yeah.
you're, I mean, if you look at her shitty family, I'm sure she's not used to expressing any kind of feelings.
Yeah, you basically can't have any in that home.
Yeah, it's very,
I
very
did feel like
awkward.
the Feathertons gave me a little bit of Cinderella vibes. Because like
Yes.
those two sisters, it looked
Yeah.
like they dressed them as like the obnoxious stepsisters.
Yeah, I could see that. Mrs.
Yeah.
Featherington, oh my God. That lady, she's a great actress. I just like her. She's like just scary
I
enough and weird enough. And yeah, I liked her.
I give that woman props though because she knows how to survive in that world.
Yeah.
Especially for everything her husband puts her through and losing their money and then betting the house. And I was like, he's
Yeah.
terrible. And she does what is necessary to survive. And I didn't really think like she was an evil, terrible human. Like she was trying to make sure like you have comfort and stability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's just trying to like make sure all of her girls get a good match. And
Mm-hmm.
she's a little evil with the Marina thing, but little evil stepmommy, even though she's not her stepmom. But
Yeah. I mean, but she had a good point. Like, no one would want to marry Marina if they found out she had already been like, what was the word they used? Defiled.
uh
There's another one.
dishonored?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's her virtue. So,
Yeah, her virtue.
whatever. I don't know, but at the same time I also feel like that mom is really only doing it for her family. It's like you are in this house and now you're ruining it for my family because you're a slut kind of thing.
That's
how
true.
I feel like she's like, you're just ruining it for my girls now. So figure it out, get married.
There was a mix of that. Yeah.
But yeah.
So then, yeah. So after that, once Penny comes and cries to Eloise about that, I feel like they get bonded again. And Penny is like, let me help you figure out who Lady Whistledown is. And so they start working on like that detective stuff together.
Sort of. If you notice though, like Penny never really gives any big details. It's just kind of like
Yeah.
she just kind of lets Eloise like talk it out, and they go from thinking that it's a maid to a tradesperson, and but Penny
She
never
sets
really
very good,
gives anything.
convincing like red herrings for Eloise to keep it off her.
Yeah. But that's where she fucks up though, is it was when she finally talks about Marina in the society papers that they realized that it couldn't be some, well, okay, at first they thought it was a widow, right? It was at all the balls. Then they thought it was a handmaid or whatever, and then a tradesperson. But that's where she fucked up, because when she finally let it slip that Marina was with child, that's when they realized that it couldn't have been at a ball, because that's something that just happened in the Featherington household. So it became more of a personal thing. So
yeah.
But she was so pissed at Marina that like she was just going to do it no matter what.
She's like, fuck it. I'm going to let Lady Whistledown blow the whistle.
And to be fair, like what Marina was doing was fucked up. So
yes,
especially
it was.
when Penny like wanted and like loves Colin, right? It was fucked up. It's like, let's entrap this nice young man because he likes me and he'll save me, even though he doesn't know what he's doing. It's like,
yeah, which is why Daphne and Marina make very questionable choices in the show for survival. I think that Marina makes the most objective choices. They're still evil, But like if I had to pick one for like which one I support more for survival, I support Marina's a little more just because she's pregnant and she's totally fucked if she doesn't get married. Versus Daphne was already married and she did not have to do what she did. So
See, I'm the opposite. I don't really view Daphne as like she was trying to get pregnant there. I view it more as like she was trying to figure out what the fuck
true. It was just
was happening, because obviously he was lying about it and she doesn't
yeah.
understand how babies are made.
It was just
but-
weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah. But Marina's, I understand if you take the time period into consideration, right?
Yeah.
But if you translate that to today, it's not
Yeah.
okay. You should never be
No.
entrapping anybody.
No,
or,
I was
you know,
thinking more
like,
about this specific time period
yeah.
where like women
it's
have.
so horrible though. I'm
It
like,
is.
It's so bad. I could never ever support it. But
Which is why it's great then she feels bad afterwards and she does apologize.
Yes, but her ending is sad, right? Because she ends up just having to marry the brother of the guy that she loved just to like kind of save herself. And
I mean,
and she does not look happy when she leaves. She's not happy about it. So,
but it's not a bad deal, in my opinion. Like, obviously, we don't know if he's a good person, but like, he was willing to marry a woman he didn't know because of his brother. So he obviously cares about his brother, and he could have been selfish and been like, well, no, I want to marry someone I love. So it's, I don't know, living during then would be very complicated.
See, and here's a great example again of you should watch Downton Abbey, because this exact same thing happens and it's still an issue in the 1920s.
Hundreds, yeah.
But here's the difference is that the girl that it happens to in Downton Abbey, they have money, right? So she eventually just adopts the kid that's actually hers, right? Like she pretends that it's an orphan for a while and puts it over here and takes care of it on the side. But then she ends up being like, oh, this is my orphan girl. I adopted her, kind of thing. And everything's fine because you have enough money to like just kind of push it aside. And, so I don't know if they did that kind of thing in the 1813s or whatever.
Yeah.
Early 1800s, but
it's definitely hard.
It sucks. Being a woman back then sucked. Let's just
that's what I'm saying. It was very complicated.
Yeah. Yes.
Let's see. I mean, and then we just have that Eloise thinks she knows who Lady Whistledown is, and then that causes a distraction. And then essentially it just resolves in Penny's once again upset about Colin leaving, and she's not telling Eloise why. And then Eloise's dad dies, and so she's upset about that. And it's really
not Eloise, Penny's.
Yeah. And then Eloise is just really sweet and says she'll be there for her every single day till she can deal with it.
Yeah, that part was really cute.
Yeah. So I feel like they've been through a lot, and their friendship is going to be really strong.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I thought I had more just about them in general, but
I have like a few other notes, but they're just like moments they have together.
Yeah, it's really honestly like their best moments are their funny moments, like the thing about getting pregnant and how
I guess
pregnant from love, you don't have to be married. And
yeah, I guess I have this moment like after the scandal goes down about Marina and everyone knows that she's pregnant. When they show up at the Queen's tea party, Eloise like immediately pulls her aside to check on her. So like Eloise is getting better about like not making it all about her, which is good.
Yeah, I do think that's one thing that the Bridgertons do a lot of is like, oh, it's all about me. Bridgertons are the most important.
There's like a weird sound happening. It's not like shaking the apartment. It's like, I don't know.
Loud?
It's not really loud. It's just, it was distracting. And I don't know. It was a weird sound. I don't know what it was. But it was loud and distracting. And I was like, what is going on? Sorry. Anyways. But yeah, so I feel like Penny and Eloise, they're going to have a lifelong friendship. And they've already been through a lot and they've accepted each other for their differences. However, though, if Eloise finds out Penny is Lady Whistledown, they might feel indifferent.
And yes, that's true. By the end, Eloise, I don't think it seems like Eloise still hasn't figured it out, right? She thought it was that one, the dressmaking lady, but it wasn't. So
but she just knows she's wrong. Yeah.
She saved Lady Whistledown. When she turns away and realizes that it isn't that girl, there's not necessarily an expression on her face that says that she knows, but there's an
Yeah.
expression on her face. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a side comment on Lady Whistledown, though, is like when you watch it a second time and see what Lady Whistledown says about the Bridgertons from the very
Mm-hmm.
beginning, she's kind of like not the nicest about the Bridgertons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to see that because it is her best friend's family that she's talking about.
Yeah,
She
she's
doesn't say
probably
anything bad about
jealous.
Eloise, but yeah. And at the same time, like obviously you have to write something about the Bridgertons because they're an important family that's out in society, right? But it's just funny that from the very beginning, she's not making the nicest comments, and that's totally her best friend's family. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they've always been so nice to her.
Yeah. I think it's some jealousy. I also think it's just some like, you want to get people to read your paper. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's go ahead and dig into Will and Simon now.
okay. But I do want to talk a little bit about Penny and Marina. At some
Okay.
point.
Well, if you want to, go ahead. We'll go for it right now.
So, like, Penny and Marina, I don't think they're like the best of friends, right? But I think they do have like a pretty cute friendship that develops throughout the season. Marina comes in and she's kind of like the odd person out because she doesn't even live there. She doesn't know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But she like immediately becomes like the shit, Every guy wants to be with her. And
Hey, it's funny too, because when Marina walks in the room, the rest of her family's upset, and Penny's like, "Oh, she's so pretty," and she's like
yeah,
totally okay with it.
yeah, I think Penny is just I think she's just a genuinely nice
Mm-hmm.
person. I mean, when she's not being Lady Whistledown. And
Yeah.
I think she's just so desperate for somebody to be nice to her in her household.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Marina becomes. Granted, a lot of their friendship, I feel like, is based off of Marina's sad issues that she's having, Like,
Yeah.
I think Penny feels bad for her. And the first time they really bond is when Penny feels bad for her and brings like food to her room
Mm-hmm.
and they talk about how she got pregnant kind of a thing and Marina just like explains how she fell in love with this guy, where he is now, and Marina's still like totally thinking that this guy is going to come back for her.
Mm-hmm.
They are cute. Penny helps her. She like helps her write letters and sends them to Spain for her and I think in a sense Penny becomes like a true romantic during this time. Like
Yeah.
she's really hoping that it ends well for, Marina. But then at some point, obviously, Marina, like, thanks to Penny's mom, comes
Which
to
I
the
will
realization.
will say that was the one thing that I feel like was super fucked up that that Penny's mom did, which was write the fake note from
Yes. Yeah.
George. Yeah.
Yes. I kept saying Nathan, by the way, this entire thing. And then I realized that was from Jojo Rabbit because we did that last week. Like in my notes,
Oh,
I was like, oh, she's writing to Nathan. And then I was like, I don't think that's right. And then I
I
checked
didn't.
back and it was Jojo Rabbit because that was the boyfriend of the
That's
girl
funny.
in that.
I
But
didn't
anyways.
notice that you said that earlier, but if you
I didn't
did.
say it earlier, but in my
Oh.
notes, I had put Nathan, and then I was like, I don't think that's right. And then I checked, and I was like, no, it's not.
Oh, that's
Uh,
funny. Okay.
yeah, I'm getting the guys that you'll never see on screen confused in that movie and a television show.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks to the mom, right? Marina's like, oh fuck, uh, he doesn't love me now. I've got to find a husband, kind of thing. And that's when she like goes for the entrapment of
Mm-hmm.
Colin Bridgerton, who Penny like secretly loves, but I think she
I
just
know,
doesn't
it's so
realize it.
sad. Yeah.
Like I think she just thinks they're friends, but at some point, obviously, Marina's like, I know you have feelings for him, but I got to do what's best for me and my kid, and
Yeah.
he's a nice person. He won't hate me forever for it. He'll take care of us, kind of thing. And that kind
Yeah.
of really like hurts their friendship.
I think Marino was definitely way too harsh. She could have let Penny down a little bit more.
Yeah,
And that's when she started to get too deep in her survival mode and
yeah,
was like, she wasn't going to let anyone get in her way and she was going to do what was ever possible. And she started like not being a nice person.
yeah. It became very Gossip Girl there for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of like effectively ruins their friendship there for a while. I don't really remember if they ever really. No, they do repair it because Marina does apologize after Lady Whistledown like admits that Marina's pregnant, right? And ruins it
Mm-hmm.
for her and Colin. And then Marina like kind of comes back to her senses and she's like, I'm sorry. I know you like him and I'll back off or whatever. I don't remember what her apology was, but there was an apology there.
Yeah, she basically says like she's really sorry for what she did, and that Penny is a really good person, and she truly believes Colin will eventually see that about her and how much Penny cares about Colin, and that they'll end up together. So I think that she realizes her mistakes and that she's not, I guess, worthy of Colin or something. But it was a nice thing to say to Penny after what she had said before.
Yeah. And it was sad because she had this whole like plan to entrap Colin, and then when they
Mm-hmm.
finally talk about it, her and Colin, he's like, if you had just told me, I would have married you. Like I liked you enough,
Mm-hmm.
which is just sad because she shouldn't have been
Yeah.
entrapping him.
Oh, and it just goes to show like people are so afraid to be honest, but actually honesty is not, the truth isn't the worst thing. Lying is the worst thing. And you don't
Yeah,
know how people are going to react, but you know that if they find out you're lying, they will always react worse than your honesty.
that's true. Yeah. Always
Mm-hmm.
be upfront with people is
Yeah.
the lesson learned by Marina and Colin. But
Mm-hmm.
the only thing I will say is like, they do make up, right? Marina apologizes. And then you don't really ever see them like together again, really. I don't feel like no like
No.
big friendship moments. But when Marina leaves,
Mm-hmm.
because her finds out that the dad of
Baby
her
daddy
baby is
brother. Yeah.
dead.
Mm-hmm.
She finds out that the dad is dead and that he did love her, which is even more depressing, right?
Oh, that was so sad.
But then the brother shows up and the brother's like, "Hey, like I'll marry you because that's what I should do. That's the right thing to do. So let's get married and go away."
Mm-hmm.
And as she's leaving with this guy who she doesn't love, and she's admitted it, like, but what other choice do I have? Um, she doesn't look happy. And she doesn't even say goodbye to Penny. Like
I
Penny and the
know.
girls are like standing on the doorstep. Marina just like bounces. And if I was Marina and I was going into a relationship like that, I would pull Penny aside and I'd be like, please, dear God, write me every single day. Like,
Yeah.
be my friend, keep me in the loop. I need something to hold on to in case this marriage sucks as much as I feel like it might. So it's kind of sad the way they like end it, but their
Yeah.
friendship was cute while it lasted, even if it was more because of the drama than anything else.
Yeah. I think it like, because Marina, she says at one point that she has needed Penny more than anything during this friendship, and it helped her get through everything. But I feel like it was definitely one-sided, and it was just about helping Marina get by.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Penny is a nice person, and I think it was to help her. I think there was a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of selfishness in there, just like I want somebody in this house I can talk to, or I don't have to go all the way over to Eloise every time and
Yeah.
be jealous of her or whatever. But
Yeah.
but yeah, they were
Mhm.
cute while it lasted.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they got what they needed from each other for that short friendship.
Oh, the one other thing that happened for them or in their relationship was when Marina tries to like abort her baby.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't go as planned, right? Um, and she's like passed out on the ground, possibly dead. Penny's the one that finds her.
Yeah, she goes
Penny,
back home to check on her.
yeah, Penny like goes back home to check on her. So, obviously they're friends again or whatever. So that's sad and depressing to witness.
Yeah.
But
So I would say, like,
that.
even though they're not super close anymore, Penny's still aware that she's going through a lot, and she still keeps an eye on her, which is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a sad friendship, but
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. At least it had an arc.
Yeah. Right.
All right, let's talk about these boys.
Okay, so Will and Simon. The only clues we really get is that they've been friends since
Two
child.
very beautiful men.
Yes, very beautiful. And that they're childhood friends. And I'm guessing Will taught Simon how to box. And every time every time Simon is in town, he goes to visit Will so he can like box out all his stresses, but not actually talk about his emotions.
I feel like it's like therapy, but also just like I don't know, time to hang out with your buddy kind of thing.
He literally uses him as a punching bag.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think with Simon, he doesn't know how to express any emotion, so that's just how he gets it out. So.
Yeah. And there's one point where Will calls him out for it. He's like, you cannot destroy me in my face. I have to fight soon. So you need to go take your anger out on someone else, aka talk to them about it.
Yeah. I do like, though, that with Will has a family, right? And he is providing for that family. And he's very happy in his marriage. One of the only ones you see in the show that is happy with their marriage. So it's nice that Simon gets to see that and picks up on it. He sees how cute their kids are. Will reminds him that, like, you can have a great family relationship with your wife, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I just like that there's that kind of mentorship almost, in a sense, right? Like, he kind of helps him get past some of his issues. So, and just is an example, right? That you can have a happy marriage. And so,
well, and like,
because that's what he's afraid of. That's what Simon's afraid of.
And we don't get like a ton of details with their friendship, but essentially there's this boxing match that comes up with Featherton basically goes to Will and says, like, let me bet against you that you'll lose, and then you'll get like a huge payout. And he's questioning about whether or not he should do that because then he's like messing with his honor. And he talks to his wife about it. And then later on, so he throws the fight so he can get paid. And Simon calls him out for it, saying like he's lost his lack of honor. And he's like, and Will's like, well, at least I'm not, causing deceit in my marriage. And they just kind of throw like these same digs back and forth at each other. But like Simon isn't aware that Will at least spoke to his wife about the decision he was making, whether or not his wife agreed about it. And I think that Simon is just really upset. Like he essentially calls everyone out for the stuff that he's doing because he can't talk to himself about it. He can't admit it. And so I feel like Will is a really good reflection of who Simon wants to be.
Yes. Yeah. That's entirely what I think their relationship is. I do. And the other thing that I find very interesting about their relationship is that they come from totally different social classes, right? So Will is a working guy and his wife kind of helps him with their business, which is the boxing thing. So Simon is, when he's there, he's like his coach, when the guy's fighting, he's like his coach, or his, I don't know, the guy that gets him amped up, whatever you want to call that. I call it a coach, whatever.
Yeah.
But he also like kind of not financially backs him, but by him being there, more people show up, more people pay money, whatever that. They kind of briefly touch on it, but I really wasn't paying attention. But
it's something about how like if because he is lower class, if like a royal person is supporting you, then you must be a good fighter. Yeah.
So it's interesting because they're not just friends, but he is using Simon in a sense for his business. But I feel like there's enough of a give and take as far as their friendship goes to where it's not totally one-sided, like Simon does feel like that guy's his friend. He doesn't just feel like he's using him for his money or anything like that.
Yeah, especially because like fucking Simon is such a masochist. He's like, I can't be good enough for Daphne and she's forced into marriage, so I'm going to go get drunk in public and cause a scene. And Will is just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And takes his ass back to his house so he can sleep it off. And calls him out for just like, what, are you going to drink away your sorrows? Is it this bad? Like, are your life problems this bad? Because like,
oh, you're so rich and you're so much money and you have a hot wife.
Exactly. Like Will is just like, Simon, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. There's people over here like, I can't put food on the table for my kids and you're bitching about your hot wife.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which I feel like kind of helps us segue into Anthony and Simon because these are both two spoiled brats.
Yes.
They both come from like rich families. They both went to Oxford. They had a very like sort of bro fraternity friendship. Like at one point, Simon tells Daphne that Anthony put like some type of wild animal.
Some kind of farm animal, in his like room or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So like these guys were clearly good buddies in college. And then Anthony also tells Daphne like, how well he knew him in college, and like he knew some personal details about his life, but that his life was really dark. And whenever they meet up, they always get pissy about something with each other, and they make up and they're like, "Oh, I didn't think you could have like a good laugh around me or something." Mm-hmm. So their friendship's very interesting because I feel like they act like spoiled brats with each other.
Yes. They're always hanging out at their like douchey rich guy club, getting drunk, bitching about their life, you know. I don't know.
They always try and act like they're being the most honorable, but then they both call each other out for their bullshit, because the fight they have at the end when they literally like break the table and are like beating the shit out of each other. What is it? Let's see. Anthony's like, "Oh, can I join you for a drink?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course." And they're being all nice. But then immediately Anthony says, like, "You made a great heir with my sister." And Anthony's like, "I'm doing my best to stick to my promise." And Anthony's like, "You don't know what it's like to raise a household." And Simon's like, "Really? Because like you make it look really fucking hard when it should be easy." And so like, yeah, they both like don't know how to accept their own problems and then just call each other out for what the other person's doing. Is almost to like one up each other and make themselves feel better about their bad decisions.
Yes. I think they are a classic example of two guys that just can't express their emotions. Should probably have some therapy that they can. Instead of beating the shit out of each other and getting drunk all the time. Like, honestly, Chubby agrees with me. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, I understand that Anthony has some issues. He has to take care of their household. And he's in love with some girl that, isn't in his same social class. So, you know, sad times, right?
Sad times.
Life's rough.
Right.
Simon, I feel like, has a little more like deep rooted issues from his father, like his father.
He's got hard daddy issues.
Yes. Another great example of why you need some therapy. Right? But, and honestly, like that's the one thing when I watch the show, when I walk away, people are like, "Oh my God, it's the best show ever. It's so romantic. It's so cute. A total escapism." And I'm like, I understand why people think that. There's a lot of hot sex scenes, right? But at the bottom line, it's about a marriage where they just don't talk to each other. Like they don't have any communication skills. They have sex and then they argue and that's about it. Like if they just talked about it, maybe they would have a little bit of a better relationship, right? They never talk about, like, you never see Simon go, yeah, I guess I could have a kid with you. It just happens, right? Like that's not how life happens. You don't just like, "Oh, I guess we'll just, have sex this time and we'll have a kid." That's not, no. You need to work through those issues,
Yeah, but they have like a small conversation about it, which
but
is
not about a kid. She just says
about working on the marriage.
Yes. But like their last big scene in the rain, like the last real conversation they have about it.
Yeah.
Is just more like, your dad didn't teach you how to love correctly. You think everything has to be perfect and it doesn't. And then she walks away and that's it. Like he doesn't say anything. Just like he doesn't say anything in the very first scene where she like kind of admits to liking him. And then they walk in the, garden and he kisses her and everything's ruined, right? Like there's no conversation.
Yeah. This is why like sometimes with these shows I have a hard time, because it also reminds me of like what's that stupid vampire series, Twilight?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Where people think that complicated love and hot sex is what a relationship's supposed to be, and it's like, no, absolutely not.
It's almost terrifying because I feel like that is going to be projected on the next generation. Is like you should have these very dramatic moments with your husband or boyfriend, and then you guys just make up with sex. It's gonna be great. But no talking. Like don't actually have a real conversation about your true feelings. Like
that's why like Daphne's mom, when she gives Daphne the advice about how you show up every day and you choose to love every day, I felt like that was the best speech and moment we had about marriage. And we saw a little bit of that with Daphne and Simon talking about it. But I feel like they rushed it because they didn't know if they were going to get a second season. So they wanted to close their story and make sure it was finished.
Yeah. It felt very like,
which is
not a lot of closure at the end, right?
Yeah, which I get. Like if you don't know if you're going to get a second season, you want to make sure you can finish your story. But I would have loved to see more of those moments between Daphne and Simon because, yeah, it was a lot of fighting and sex. And I honestly cried when Daphne's mom was giving her that speech about choosing to show up to every day, choosing to love, because that is what a relationship is. Like, it's not going to always be fun. It's going to be hard. You're going to fight, but you choose to love rather than to be negative or sit on these terrible things or these petty things that your partner does. And it's like, you have to choose to work through it every day.
Yes. And I do feel like they just never show any of that. It's always just like the anger and the makeup and the nothing in between, no actual real conversations. And it's funny that you said Twilight because it totally reminded me of Twilight and what's that other one? 50 Shades of Grey. Because they're like, I don't know how you explain it, but one of them is like a fan fiction one of the other, right?
Well, the author who wrote 50 Shades of Grey wrote fan fiction about Twilight, which is why she got her book deal for 50 Shades of Grey.
Right. So it's just funny because you can see the parallels between those guys and then Simon. Like when I watched the show the first time, I was like, is this just like fan fiction of those two? But then when I looked up the books, it was like way before those two books. So, you know, whatever, but very similar. Very similar.
And I get it makes for good television because like obviously I'm an actor, so like Bridgerton would be such a fun show to be in, but looking at it like as a real person, you must take this show at face value for entertainment, and it should not be a reflection of life, because I feel like that's what TV and film is. It's half entertainment and half moments of like real reflection of life, which I feel like the speech Daphne's mom gives to her is like the gold nugget that you want your audience to hold on to of like, this is what marriage is. Yeah. And then let's cut to the entertainment of giving you what you want, which is you want Daphne and Simon to have hot sex because that's what you came for.
So true. It's literally like, just listen to the old ladies in the show.
Yes.
His mom and Lady Danbury, like those two just drop like gold nuggets everywhere. Everything else is just fluff. Right?
Like, I love, because like I was looking up GIFs on Instagram story for like Bridgerton, and they have like so many quotes of like, I burn for you. And I'm just like, no one actually says that in real life.
It's like Bridgerton and Hamilton. There's like a scene called Burn, but it's not the same kind of burn.
which is lovely, because I think that for entertainment love stories, like there was a book in the TV show Friends that all the girls were reading.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was called, but I know what you're talking about.
It was like my
something about wind. It was like it had the elements in it.
No, there's that one, but then there was also the romance novel that the boys said were all porn, where it was something like it was chimney sweeper.
No, it was the vicar.
Because the vicar.
What a vicar was. And I'm pretty sure after watching stuff like this, the vicar is like the pastor or the priest or something.
Yeah.
Something like religious back then, but yeah.
But essentially like I think romance novels are what like ridiculous action films are, where like
for women.
Yeah.
Men are like, I just want to go blow shit up. And women are like, they're so cute. I just want to be like them.
Yeah. Or like you have like the John Wick movies where like John Wick can never die and he does all these crazy stunts and like he can shoot guns off in all different directions. And you're like, yeah. And then you have like the hot romance scenes where like they fight and then they have sex. They fight, they have sex. And it's just like.
It's escapism.
It's escapism.
Like, that's what it is. So.
Yeah. And super fun to watch.
Not realistic though.
Not realistic.
Don't try and apply it to your real life. Don't.
Yeah.
It's not gonna...
It is there for your entertainment, but that is not how a relationship actually works.
Yes.
God, so if you want to write for TV and film, take note. Write those sex scenes, but then make sure you put those gold nuggets in there for what is actually realistic to life.
Yes. You always have to have an old person with a lot of knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah. They always know the things. They always know the things. Mm-hmm. Can we just take a moment, since we're basically done, to express the fact that you and I, without planning it, both decided to wear our pajama bottoms today?
Yes. You guys, it's... Oh, let's see. These are my Catitude pajamas that Crystal got me for Christmas.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
It's 2021, but we're still in quarantine world. And I woke up at like 9:30 and I was like, I'm in the comfort of my home. I'm just going to wear my PJs and drink my coffee while I record with my best friend, because that's why we did this podcast, was so we could just geek out with you guys over all
Yes.
of our shows we love.
Yes. I showed up, I put makeup on, and I put a bra and a shirt on. So
Yes, I have a
don't
bra on
have
and a
pajamas
shirt.
on the bottom half.
Yeah, I
don't
put
have
on
pajamas on.
lipstick. I colored in my brows, put my brow gel in,
Mm-hmm.
and then I put on this vitamin C serum, which I don't know if it brightens my face, but it makes me feel awake.
You look beautiful. So
Thank
that's
you.
all.
I feel like I showed up for
Yeah.
the job.
Yeah. You even put a headband on. See?
Oh, yes, the headband is to help hide that my hair is a little greasy.
Ah, can't tell.
Exactly. It
tell.
pushes, because underneath it's clean, on top it's greasy, so it pushes back the grease.
Mm-hmm.
These are your tips, guys, for how to look great on Zoom.
We can't all look like a Bridgerton. So
Yes, this is Penny has made that very clear.
I will say that the girl that plays Daphne, Phoebe, whatever her last
She's
name
a
is,
wonderful actress. I'm obsessed with
and
her.
she's beautiful. Let's
She's
get real. Like,
gorgeous. Yeah.
I may not love her character in this show. She's gorgeous though.
But that's why, like, you can't like every character, and I think if an actor does a good job, it's to make you question their choices, to think about them. Why did they do these things?
Yeah. And it's not that I don't hate her character. I just think she's a little whiny and a little spoiled and a little full of herself.
That's why I felt like she had very Rory tendencies.
Yes, yeah.
We love Rory, but Rory was set up for success and her life was not hard. So when things were hard, they were very like first world problems.
Yeah. Oh, you don't know how to talk to your husband? Oh, it's so hard. Some people can't afford to pay for things over here.
Right? Like I actually felt really bad that Paris didn't get into Harvard and her family lost all her money and she had to work her way through college. And what is it? Rory's like, I don't know if I should be a journalist because the richest man in journalism told me that I'm not good enough to do it. I'm going to take a year off because I can afford to. And I know that Yale will accept me back because my grandparents are paying for it. If Paris dropped out, they probably wouldn't let her back in.
And let's get real. By the end of that show, the reboot thing.
Yeah.
Paris is kicking ass. Like, has this multi-million-dollar company. She may be getting a divorce and has 2 kids, but she's kicking ass. And Rory's over here like fucking around with a bunch of other guys and still not really sure what she wants to do with life. So,
and I'm like, the fact that she can't remember she has a boyfriend is so fucked up.
And so weird. I'm like, that's not Rory to me. That's not Rory. But
that was weird writing that Amy Sherman apology. I love Amy. I would love to be in one of your shows, but why did you write that? I just want to know. It makes no sense.
It was definitely odd. Yeah.
Yeah. I think even Alexis Bledel brought that up, that she felt a lot of the writing was weird for Rory too.
Like, I understand the humor behind it, but I don't understand how that would apply to Rory. So
yeah, it's a bit callous and just unkind.
But anyways, tangent. That's the end of Bridgerton, right? I mean,
that was everything. There's this one shot that I'm obsessed with. It's called the French OTS. And it's when Daphne and Simon are looking at the painting at the gallery. And she's saying why she loves it. And he's saying it was his mom's favorite. And they do so a French OTS is when it's from behind. And 2 people are standing next to each other, because then you just get like these slight side glances where you don't want them to catch you looking at them. And it's really romantic. And that was like one of my favorite shots. Next to the close-ups of him like undoing her dress and stuff right before they had sex. Oh, it was so beautiful.
It was a beautiful show. I loved the color. They made it so much more vibrant as an era. Like, that was... And
especially the Feathertons. They were so loud whenever they walked into
Dude, it was like they were wearing curtains, like floral curtains. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Did you notice, though, they gave every family like their colors? Like, I think Bridgerton's were blues and whites.
White and blue, yeah.
Yeah, and then that one family that the girl that was like kind of plain and the prince liked her.
Yeah.
She was like whites and reds and yellows and blacks.
Really? I thought she was pink. Are we talking about the blonde girl? The
They're
blonde girl
so.
with like all of the shit in her hair all the time.
Oh, then maybe it was pink. Maybe I'm thinking of a different character.
I don't know,
But it
but I
was
noticed the
just,
Featheringtons were like greens and yellows and oranges, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I liked that they gave each house a family. And so that's why, like, even though there were those moments that were rushed, I feel like they, as writers, they still did a good job of like putting everything together in a nice
Yeah.
flow. And then we
Oh,
had
you know who
like
had the colors you're talking about was the
who?
Duke. He had like the reds, yellows, blacks,
Okay.
whites.
I knew
Like
there
this
was like
really like rich velvety colors. I
yes.
feel like he had those.
Yeah.
Early.
And so I feel like
That
their
red
color
velvet jacket.
design, yeah, everything was just so smoothly put together. And like even though the show was so bright, like the lighting and the coloring of it, that when we had those moments where they were inside the inn, we got those like nice, rich, smoky colors where it was
Yeah.
like the dark wood. It was just, it's a beautiful show
It
overall.
was just, yes. But I feel
Yeah.
like usually in movies and shows about that era, it's
Mhm.
just not quite as rich, you know?
Mhm.
Like I feel like they definitely like fix the colors.
A lot of Jane
editing
Austen
to make
films
it-
are very flat.
Yeah, like that Pride and Prejudice movie with Keira Knightley is like my absolute favorite. And I love the way it was shot. But I just think that making this one a little more vibrant just really modernized it a little bit more and made it more entertaining to the people that don't like that era. Like by giving it this drama, giving it that color, and giving it the like modern songs turned into classical covers, it really like brought, I feel like, a whole new audience to watch
It's a good way. That's why I really like. I'll end it here, but the Marie Antoinette movie by
Oh yeah,
what's her name, Coppola,
Sophia Coppola. Yeah,
Sophia Coppola. Yeah,
very bright, very beautiful.
Yeah, it's. I think that movie works because even though the storyline is kind of very indie and different, she put a good juxtaposition into it to spice it up.
Yes, that's why you need to watch The Great on Hulu. Remember, I was telling you the one about Catherine the Great with Elle Fanning.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
And that guy that used to date Jennifer Lawrence that we talked about,
Nicholas
Holt.
Nicholas Holt. Yes.
Watch that. It's
Okay.
only a season. We should cover it, honestly, but I can't. Yes, we should cover it. But anyways, watch it though.
Okay.
People, you, Allie, and other people, watch that show because it's really good, really modern, making fun of court back in Russia. Really good. So.
That's why also, what's the other film? The one that Emma Stone was in and the woman won an Oscar for playing the Queen.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's boyfriend was in it.
What the fuck was that movie called?
Let me look it up right now.
It was a weird movie, but
it was good because of the juxtaposition they had in it. Yeah, the wardrobe on it was also gorgeous too.
It had Olivia Colman, who is like the best. I love her. Yeah,
she won an Oscar in The Favorite.
Yes, she's great in The Crown as well. Oh my god, I love Olivia.
Yeah,
if I could meet her.
I feel like if you're going to do time period pieces from those era, you definitely have to add some juxtaposition to spice it up because, like, as much as I love traditional, like, very classical films, I think we've seen so much of them. You have to do something different now.
Yeah, and it just helps people realize that, like, these things were, if you're not a fan of history, it makes young people realize that, you know, those kinds of things were common then, right? Like there was bright colors on those, you know, drapes and stuff like that. Like some idiots probably don't even realize that. So
yeah,
make it more vibrant and exciting.
And we know there were those art houses where people were living their life in secret, but they had a safe place to be who they wanted to be, even though society was like, that's not acceptable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's been happening for years and generations and centuries, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everyone, thank you again for listening to another episode of Best Friends Playbook Podcast. And if you haven't, please leave us a review on Apple Podcast and follow us on the Instagrams or Facebook. And
on the interwebs.
On the interwebs. And we'll see you for our next episode.
Bye.
Bye. She's my friend because we know what it's like for people to be jealous of us.
It's so nice when you can sit with someone and not have to talk. You and I are a team. Nothing is more important than our friendship. Thank you for listening to the Best Friends Playbook podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
You can also email us episode suggestions at bestfriendsplaybook@gmail.com. And if you could please leave us a review on iTunes, it helps us greatly to grow our podcast.